Okay, almost done here, talking about Scream of the Shalka for Doctor Who, starring Richard E. Grant. Okay, now I want to discuss the special features for Scream of the Shalka. There is a special feature called Carry On Screaming. And in it, James Goss, the executive producer for Scream of the Shalka, said, "If we'd ever thought that the BBC was bringing Doctor Who back to television, then we'd never have made Scream of the Shalka, the webcast." This was made, Scream of the Shalka was made 40 years after Doctor Who first aired on television. They originally wanted to do a full season of 12 episodes, making up 3 stories, instead of 1 story with 6 episodes. It became just another webcast. They wanted to do an animated series. Instead of having a robot master, the writer originally thought of having a hologram of Peter Davison's version of the Doctor. That would have been nice to see Peter Davison. Animated in Scream of the Shalka. Paul Cornell was writing the second draft of Scream of the Shalka on his honeymoon in New Zealand. Well, that's not very romantic. Apparently his wife, his new wife, while he was working, writing Scream of the Shalka, the second draft of it, she was off looking at Lord of the Rings locations. Yeah, New Zealand has some beautiful areas. It'd be really nice to visit New Zealand and Australia. Okay. Robbie Williams was interested in playing the Doctor, but he wasn't available. I am familiar with Robbie Williams from this. I got this a long time ago. It has on here Robbie Williams' song, because he's a singer. Apparently he also, I don't know how many things he's acted in, but he was at least interested in playing the Doctor for Scream of the Shalka. I didn't know Robbie Williams was an actor also. Apparently. At least wanted to be, I don't know. I just knew him as a singer, and for this one song, Millennium, which is a good song. It's nice. It's a nice song. I remembered hearing it on the radio back in the 90s. Wait, no, early 2000. Well, this came out in 1999. 1999. Yeah. So this is the only song, Millennium, that's the only song I've ever heard by Robbie Williams. So it's funny to think that he he was in consideration for playing the Doctor. I thought he was just a singer. It's got Britney Spears on here on the CD. U2, Sheryl Crow, Garbage, Cake, Spice Girls, Everclear, Sublime. It's a nice CD. So that would have been, I don't know if how good that would have been. Robbie Williams as the Doctor. I guess it might have been all right. I don't know if he would have been better than Richard E. Grant. Okay, continuing on with the special features for Scream of the Shalka. David Tennant was working on Rumpole of the Bailey in the next door studio at the time that Scream of the Shalka was being made. While talking to the cast of Scream of the Shalka, David Tennant revealed he was a big Doctor Who fan and wanted to be part of the production. I think I heard that David Tennant wanted to be, when he was a child, he wanted to be the Doctor. So he was a fan for a long time. All right. Cosgrove Hall worked on the animation for Scream of the Shalka. Cosgrove Hall Productions had previously produced Danger Mouse, which I have right here. I have all of the seasons of Danger Mouse. This is just one of them. I really enjoyed this. I really liked watching Danger Mouse back in the 1980s when I was young. It was a fun show. I think partly because I liked the way they talked, because it was a British show. They they had the British accent. I think that was part of the reason why I liked Danger Mouse, because it was different. And they talked different. So Cosgrove Hall Productions had previously produced Danger Mouse, The Wind in the Willows, and Count Duckula. That's another show I remembered watching, Count Duckula, which I think was a spin-off from Danger Mouse. Because I think Count Duckula was in, he made an appearance in the show Danger Mouse. Count Duckula did. Brian Cosgrove directed and produced Danger Mouse. Mark Hall also produced it. Then there is a special feature titled The Screaming Sessions, and in that, Sophie Okonedo, she said, Richard's just a perfect doctor, so it's really, all the scenes with him have been really enjoyable. Wilson Millam, the director, said that Richard E. Grant was born to play the Doctor. He was the Doctor right out of the box. Robbie Williams might disagree with that. Richard E. Grant, so this is continuing on with a quote from the director. he says, Richard E. Grant brought a wonderful slyness and impishness. Impishness. I think I've heard Patrick Troughton's doctor described that way, that he had an impishness. Then there's a special feature titled Interweb of Fear. In that, it says that the BBC's first proper website was launched in 1997, which was when I graduated high school in 1997. There were two, BBC Online and Beeb.com. That's BEEB.com. The BBC's first proper Doctor Who website was launched in 1999. Then there's a photo gallery, and there's a special feature titled Soundtrack Album, and in that you can listen to the music from Scream of the Shalka while looking at an image of the Doctor with a screaming Shalka behind him. And that is almost 27 minutes. It's okay. It's all right music, but it's just a freeze frame. It's just one image of there's the Doctor and he's holding on to something, and then there's a Shalka in the background. It's just looking at this picture for 27 minutes while listening to the music. They should have at least changed the image, like a photo gallery. They could have combined the photo gallery with the music for this special feature. Then there's a commentary with Toby Hadoke. I've heard him a lot on commentaries for Doctor Who, and I've seen him on other special features, interviewing. I think there was one where he interviewed on a different Doctor Who DVD, where he or Blu-ray, where Toby Hadoke interviewed John Levine. So on this commentary, I guess you could call him the moderator. And on this commentary also is Paul Cornell, the writer, Wilson Millam, the director, and James Goss, the producer of Scream of the Shalka. Then there's an information text option. I'm glad they don't do that on the newer Doctor Who DVDs. I've already spoken before about how I don't like that feature. They should just have it separate. Don't make someone watch the whole thing just to read these information notes, production notes. Could have just had that as a separate thing where you can just push the button on the remote and quickly go through what needs to be read, or put it in the booklet that comes with the DVD or Blu-ray. That way you're more in control of the what you're reading. You don't have to, if the words go by while you're watching the episodes, so the words go by too quickly sometimes, and then you got to rewind it, watch it again. I find it very annoying, the information text. Then there is a special feature titled Coming Soon, which is a trailer for Terror of the Zygons, when Tom Baker was the Doctor, which I have on VHS. It's right here. And that's it. That's all there is to say from me about Scream of the Shalka. Okay. The next Doctor Who that I will be talking about will be the next Doctor, the next actor to play the Doctor that I'll be talking about is Peter Cushing, which a lot of people may not be familiar with. That Peter Cushing played the Doctor at one time. That's for next time. So tune in next time for that.